Every morning, before the sun could even peek over the dusty rooftops, 14-year-old Raffi would be out on the street corner with his wooden cart, worn-out wheels squeaking as he pushed it into position. The cart, passed down from his grandfather, was chipped and crooked, but it still carried bundles of fresh vegetables his uncles supplied from a nearby village. People passed him by, some buying, most not. Some tossed coins, some bargained ruthlessly, but Raffi never frowned, never complained. He smiled, politely greeted every customer with a respectful salaam, and arranged the carrots, tomatoes, and spinach with care, as though he were setting up a store window in Paris. Behind those brown eyes and steady hands, though, was a mountain of responsibility. His mother was bedridden, lungs failing after years of inhaling factory dust. His little sister, Asiya, was just 7 and still believed life was full of fairy tales. It was Raffi who kept those tales alive, hiding the reality behind his cheerful grin. He had never been to school, couldn't read a single word, but he'd once overheard a boy his age reading aloud from a book, and that voice, smooth, confident, magical, had planted a quiet dream in Raffi's heart. Someday I want to read too, but dreams were for people who had time, and Raffi only had vegetables to sell. One gray afternoon, clouds hanging low, rain started spitting from the sky. Most vendors packed up. Raffi stayed, covering his cart with plastic, huddled underneath a fraying umbrella. His feet were soaked, but his spirit held. That's when a black car pulled over. A tall man in his late 60s stepped out, holding a small umbrella and wearing a navy blue suit, an odd sight for this corner of town. He walked to the cart, picked up a bunch of carrots, and asked in fluent English how much. Raffi hesitated. He knew the number in Urdu, not English. He raised 4 fingers and said, 40 rupees, sir. The man chuckled softly, handed him 50, and watched as Raffi fumbled to return change. You speak well. Why aren't you in school? Raffi didn't look up. School doesn't feed my family, sir. This cart does. There was silence. Then the man extended his hand. I'm Mr. Daniels. I used to be a teacher. Would you mind if I came tomorrow and taught you something, just one thing? Raffi blinked. No one had ever offered him knowledge before. He slowly nodded. Only if it doesn't cost anything, he said with a smile. Mr. Daniels smiled back. It'll cost only your time and your heart. True to his word, Mr. Daniels returned the next evening. He brought an old cardboard box, a piece of chalk, and 2 plastic chairs. Under a dim street lamp with cars whizzing by and the scent of fried samosas in the air, Raffi learned the letter A. By the end of the week, he could spell apple and carrot in English. His eyes sparkled like he had discovered treasure. People began to notice. Some smiled, some scoffed. One man said, teaching a cart boy, waste of time. But Mr. Daniels ignored them, and so did Raffi. Raffi started writing the names of his vegetables in neat, careful English on small signs. Tourists and students were intrigued. Look at that. A foreign woman exclaimed. He's learning while working. Amazing. Raffi's little sister Asiya sat by him every evening, mouthing the letters her brother repeated. She started drawing hearts and flowers next to his signs. It wasn't just education, now it was art, joy, hope. Even their earnings increased, and Raffi began to believe something he had never dared before. Maybe, just maybe, I'm meant for more. Months passed. Rain turned to winter. Raffi now knew over 200 English words and could even read simple sentences. His confidence grew. He wasn't just selling vegetables. He was telling stories, laughing, engaging. Then one day, a neatly dressed man approached with a camera crew. He was a travel vlogger who had seen Raffi's cart online. His video, titled The Boy Who Sells Veggies and Learns English, went viral. The very next week, an envelope arrived. It bore the letterhead of a respected school in the city. Inside, a message that made Raffi's hands tremble. You are awarded a full scholarship, uniforms, books, and transportation included. We'd be honored to have you as a student. His mother wept when he read it aloud. Asiya clapped and danced around the room. Raffi just stood still, heart pounding. All those dusty days, all those ignored dreams, they weren't wasted. They were seeds, and now they had bloomed, but that wasn't all. Mr. Daniels made another announcement. I've spoken with the community center. We're opening a learning corner near the park. Free evening classes for children like you. I'll teach whoever comes. The cart boy story had become a movement. 5 years later, a young man stood behind a podium in a blazer, holding his diploma. It was Raffi. no longer the barefoot vendor, but a confident high school graduate, soon to start college in English literature. Before a sea of parents, students, and teachers, he cleared his throat and began, "My name is Raffi. I used to sell vegetables on a street corner. I didn't know how to spell my name in English, but someone believed in me, not because I had money, not because I was special, just because he saw a boy who wanted to learn." He paused, eyes brimming with tears. "This diploma is for my mother, who never stopped praying for me, for my sister, who drew hearts on my signs, and for Mr. Daniels, who passed away last year, but lives in every word I read and every lesson I teach to others." Raffi looked out at the crowd, then held up his diploma. Sometimes a single act of kindness doesn't just change a life, it rewrites its story completely. I am that story. The crowd rose to their feet. Applause thundered across the hall. Outside, on that same street corner, Raffi's old cart still stood, but now a small sign hung from its side. Raffi's cart knowledge served here too. He taught one child every evening before heading home. Just like Mr. Daniels had done for him, this is the story of a boy who had no books, no teacher, and no shoes, but who had heart, hope, and a stranger who believed in him. Let it remind us, you don't need much to change a life. Just love, time, and belief.